All right, welcome to the Chopping It Up show. I'm your host, Joe Beer. Happy to be of service for you today. Today is October 19th, 2024, 3:04 on the West Coast and 6:04 on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening are watching live or on the podcast style. We all appreciate all the support and love. So I always interview good guests. And so when I always reach out to the people I want to talk to, I already, either know them or had a lot of time with them. And so this is like a family member. We not blood, but you know how like black folks do, like they like, oh, well, this is my cousin. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know how it is. So this is really exciting because I definitely wanted to talk to him for a while. So without further ado, we chopping it up with Isiah, aka Ike Williams. What's going on in this podcast, man?
What's going on, brother, man? Thanks for welcoming me to the show. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, this is really cool. I'm proud of you. I'm saying we were kids, and so
Mm-hmm.
now we both adults and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then hearing about your marching story, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to tell the world that. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right in it. Ike, where you from, man?
From Charlotte, North Carolina. Been here pretty much all my life. A short stints in DC for a little bit, but mainly right here in Charlotte, brother.
Okay, all right. Now, I know your mom's.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So now
It's me.
is she from this area too? Are your folks are all of them from Charlotte? Like what about your parents?
Yeah, my mom's from here. She's from Charlotte. She's born and raised here. My grandparents are from Harrisburg, but most people right here, right outside the Charlotte area. So Charlotte area and surrounding area.
Okay.
Um, my dad is from Florence, South Carolina. You know,
What?
Yeah, he from Florence. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Wilson High School down there. Yeah,
What?
yeah. Wilson High School down there. Also high step marching band. That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, dude, you just said okay. So real quick, let me insert this. My
Hmm.
best friend in college was Avery McFadden,
Okay.
and one of the best trumpet players I had ever met in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Met him. I went to school first in '96.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
met his cousin Calvin.
Okay.
Okay, Calvin came back and marched with us when we went up against South Carolina State.
Okay.
Okay, I then
Mm-hmm.
transferred to Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then met his cousin Avery,
Okay.
Avery McFadden, who was my crab brother, and from Florence, South Carolina,
Stroud Florence, man. Yeah.
Wilson High School.
Wilson High School. That's the school. Yep. Yep.
Oh man, you blew my mind with that one.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what's up. So, okay, so the Carolinas.
That's
Um
correct.
yeah,
That's
okay. What was, let's say, cuz see you from the area, so I think North Carolina has like 11 black schools or something like that, like a
Yeah,
lot.
when I left out of high school, yeah, we had 11. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um what was your first HBCU experience that you remember?
Oh my goodness. My first HBCU experience was probably my grandfather. He went to Johnson C. Smith. Um, yeah, my grandfather went to Johnson C. Smith. Yeah, in the 1920s, I believe. Yeah,
Wow.
and so my grandmother went to Barber, Scotia. Um, And
Wow.
so, and my great grandmother went to my grandmother went to Barber Scotia, and she did a stint at Winston Salem State because back then you could finish high school and get a teacher certificate, you know,
Okay.
and teach. And then she went and got her master's at Winston, which was Teachers College. She called it TC back in the day.
Okay.
My great grandmother went to Barber Scotia as well. She went to school, and while she was there with Mary McLeod Bethune.
Wow.
Mm.
Dude, this is like crazy. Okay. My great grandmother went to Barber, Scotia.
I know that. Yeah, I knew that. Okay.
Wow. Wow. I did not know that. And then of course my grandmother, who
Mhm.
she went to Bennett.
Yeah.
and my grandfather went to T.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, Barber Scotia, man, and my mother told me it was it was called something different.
Scotia Seminary.
Okay,
Scotia Seminary, because it was like it was church school. You know, all those are Presbyterian schools. A lot of those black schools, you know, affiliated with some type of church, whether it be
right,
Methodist, Baptist, or whatever. You know, so
right,
yeah, it
right.
was Scotia Seminary. That's what it was before it
Okay.
changed over. Yeah.
Wow, this is crazy, man. You
Mhm.
know, and it's funny because every time I do the show, no matter like if it's somebody I know really well,
Mhm.
I always learn something because a lot of times you ain't really sat down and had like these questions.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I remember meeting you at church.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember meeting you at church and we kicked it. And I
Yeah.
remember it was cool because, you know, it was my mom's hometown every time we went back to Charlotte. And, you
Mhm.
know, I could see my grandparents and everything, but I wanted to still hang out with somebody my age too,
Me
you
too.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so that's how we started hanging out.
Mhm.
Okay. So wow, okay. So that's like really good news. So now what as far as instrumentation goes, what was your first instrument?
My first instrument was a clarinet that been passed down like over generations, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was this old clarinet that I think my uncle had. My uncle actually was the drum major at Morehouse. So
What?
he went to Morehouse. He was a drum major. He was a clarinetist, but I guess he put that down to be the drum major there when he was there, you know. And so I played basically his horn that was passed down. Like my grandmother was just like, you can play Lennon instrument. So that's what I did.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you know. So
Yeah. A
that's
lot of people had that story, man, where it's like, you know, how you get into the playing, he was like, oh, well, my older brother or a family member had it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because everybody wasn't lucky to just come out and just bust out and buy no brand new horn.
that's right. That's
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
My son, he played trump. I tried to get him to play it for a little while. He played for 2 years, but he played my trumpet that I
Okay.
had that actually my grandmother bought.
Yeah.
Yep, my grandmother. I had an uncle that got because you know teachers got those discounts.
They did. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And he helped, you know, he found a discount, and then of course my grandmother paid for the horn, and I still got it. Now my son playing it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's these
Um,
third, fourth generation instruments, man. These little kids are rock.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. So that's dope, man. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
you started then. What was then your first because like you said, you already had the family, but do you remember your first HBCU band experience?
My first HBCU band experience was well, I did march in Winston State, but my first high stepping experience was at Hawthorne High School.
Okay.
And under the direct leadership of Anthony Jones, who is now
Okay.
the band director at who was the band director at Hawthorne Middle School at the time, and I was in the 7th grade when I first started there. I was a junior high then, and after that, I went to West Charlotte High School where I marched under
Okay.
Delport, you know, and yeah, but my first experience was right there in middle school with Anthony Jones. That was his second year teaching there at Hawthorne Junior High, moved into middle because we would transition from junior high to middle. And I believe that was like in 1990 and 1991.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 91. Cause I think so. I guess you were one grade behind me because 91, I was in 8th grade, the fall of 91.
Yeah. We are 1 year apart. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
year older than I am. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So,
And that was
wow.
that was Anthony Jones' first year teaching. And you know, it's kind of because he was and before that, I know he tried out for the Charlotte Hornets as a basketball player because you know Anthony Jones like 6'4".
Yeah. He's tall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's tall. He was like 6'4". So he tried out for the Charlotte Hornets at the time. He was like, I almost made the team too, you know. And he had like and then, you know, and I think he he played the trumpet or saxophone. I think he played the trumpet.
He played
And
trumpet, yeah.
he played trumpet, and he showed us a music video. You remember how like Video Soul had all these music videos back in the day? Yeah,
Yup.
he showed us a video. Like because the girl dance in the background, stuff like that. And he was in there playing trumpet. It was nice though. He was good instrumentalist. And so and his brother Chris Jones. That's when I first met him, because he used to come sometimes to Hawthorne, and he'd be back there playing with the percussion section. And that's when I fell in love with percussion, and I wanted to play in percussion section at the
Okay.
HBCU.
That's dope, man. Because of course, Chris he's a friend of the show. He's like a brother. I met Chris Jones at Smith. He was the drum major at Smith. And then I transferred to Jackson State. Then he transferred to Jackson State in '98. And then later became drum major there.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, and so it's funny because when we're in Charlotte, when you talk about Chris Jones, people talk about him. That's Chris Jones.
Yeah.
When we were in Jackson, because the hazing and all that stuff, we was all down there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you were a crab, and you had a crab name. Everybody had a crab name. They called him Goldberg. Because remember Chris
name. Yeah.
Right. So he's tall and he's big too, but he was bigger than everybody.
Oh yeah.
Like he was bigger than everybody, even the upperclassmen.
Yeah.
So they called him Goldberg. So it's so funny because like when I talk to my friends from Jackson State, or you talk about anybody in Mississippi, they say Goldberg. They talk about Chris Jones.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's real dope, man. Anthony, I met him. He came and played trumpet at Smith one time.
Okay.
And we were like playing Can't Hide Love with Earth, Wind, and Fire. We had practice. And he came in there and he just started.
You probably lit that up.
Woo, he came in there and it was like he was in a marching band and he was soloing on top of the whole band. I was like, he was cold. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. He was very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. He promoted me, man. He's the reason why I started liking music in the first place. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I hated the clarinet. I hated my instrument, but the only I hated my instrument, dude. And all through middle school and even like into high school, even though I was a music major when I went in there, I really started playing other instruments from watching Mr. Jones. He's the one that like, hey, you know what? If you want to play trumpet, you should pick that up. You want to play on saxophone, go pick one up, learn how to play that,
Right.
And he promoted me from the 7th grade band to the 9th grade band, sent me off to UNCG to go to this music camp and all the stuff like that. Yeah, he did all that for me. And so that's the reason why my love of music geared me toward getting a music scholarship. I was a music major when I went to Winston Salem State when I did.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow, man. I didn't know all that, man. First, I remember drums from somewhere. I think maybe we were in high school or something, but I didn't know that you started playing the clarinet.
That's right. That's my first instrument, dude.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay. So now you said it was Hawthorne Middle School?
Hawthorne Middle School.
Hawthorne Middle School. Okay. And then you guys started marching there. Do you have a memorable experience marching? Because was it also the school's first year marching like that?
Yeah, we did not. He started, this was, I believe, his 2nd or 3rd year, but I believe it was his 2nd year teaching period when I was there. Wow. I know he had not taught for 5 years. So it was like he was a beginning teacher, fresh out of UNCG grad school, I believe. And so when he came there, he started the marching program. Now we were one of only 2 middle schools that marched. I think he had another buddy that had a marching band that started at another middle school in Charlotte called J.T. Williams. They had a marching band as well. But my memorable experience was marching in like the Thanksgiving parade. I think we marched in like Thanksgiving parade here in Charlotte. And we marched in a few parades as a high school and people as a middle school, and people like, look at these little kids,
Right.
Because we already have West Charlotte. West Charlotte is a black school, high stepping marching band right here in Charlotte. They are like, that they are it. They are the historically black high school that we have in Charlotte,
Right.
And I remember we marching in that parade, and West Charlotte was over here, they come by their little bus, they be like, all right, little kids, we'll see you when you get there, And that was pretty good, man. That was fun, man. But that really, piqued my curiosity and me want to continue in marching band. So,
Right.
yeah. So that was a big time, man. It was big for me.
So now I know Charlotte. Was it the Thanksgiving parade? Was it through like downtown or something like
Yeah,
that, or
yeah,
uptown as y'all
yeah,
call it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. That's dope, man. That is dope. Okay. All right. So now you march, you had these experiences, like you said you want to continue on.
Yeah.
What high school then did you go to?
Went to Independence for a year, and I developed through their program. But and then that was my 10th grade year, but my 11th grade year is when I went to West Charlotte, and I really continued marching and being a part of a marching band program at West Charlotte High School under Mr. Davenport, who was before that. I think he was the director at John C. Smith. You know.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I remember West Charlotte because I mean, you remember where my grandmother lived. So when we would drive down Beatty's Ford, I would see West Charlotte a lot.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
remember that. But then when I was at Smith, sometimes some of the students from West Charlotte would come march with us.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would.
I
Yeah, they
I
would.
remember that, and I was like, and honestly, man, that's when stuff. And I have a story about like this high school, Dudley from Greensboro.
Yeah,
They came to Charlotte and they crunk on us bad, man. And
yeah.
I remember that's really when I was like, okay, I may have to transfer. But I remember like I didn't know that high school like people could come march in the band. Like that blew my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We You know what? That is a Johnson C. Smith Charlotte thing. Uh,
Yeah.
Nowhere else when I find when I went to West Salem State and I was like looking across the way we come to Charlotte, I'm like, man, I know all them kids. They because that's the class behind me. I'm like, hold up, man, that's a senior. I know this boy right there. He was a ninth grader.
Oh wow.
I'm coming back here, I never forget that, man. Coming back to Charlotte from Winston was an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
something very different because
Yeah.
it's a rival school.
Yeah.
Winston don't like these boys down here, and like you said, Dudley High School is like the junior A&T because it's in
Yes.
and so in North Carolina, you have all of these historically black high schools that are right down the street from HBCU. If you
Right.
go to Central, Hillside High School is up the street from there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a school called E.E. Smith that's down the street from Fayetteville State.
That's right.
So
That's
yeah,
right.
so you have all these little high schools and stuff like that, and then and the thing is, historically they used to play each other. So a lot
Okay.
of times, like my mother used to say that's who we played. We played Dudley. We played Hillside. We would go out and play E. Smith because the white schools couldn't play the black schools back then. So
Right.
so
Right.
there's like historical rivalry between a lot of these different schools in North Carolina, man. So it's real interesting when you talk about Smith.
Yeah. And it's dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's dope, man, because I didn't know the history behind it. So like you talk about E.E. Smith. There
Hmm.
are these two guys, the Rogers brothers,
Okay.
and they are they're big time. They have their own HBCU band, like they have reaction shows and they're super popular.
Hmm.
They went to Fayetteville State, and I believe that they went to E.E. Smith.
I can believe that.
And so when I was there at Smith in the spring semester, we went on the recruiting trips,
Hmm.
and we went to E.E. Smith,
Hmm.
and we would do like we had a concert band and we had a jazz band. And then the concert band would play, and then of course the jazz band would play.
Hmm.
And we would be trying to recruit folks to
Hmm.
come. So I remember E.E. Smith, but like every person that I meet from the Carolinas, and of course, especially North Carolina, they have some connection with all of those schools.
Yeah.
So even now, you bringing up Hillside,
Hmm.
there were a couple people in the band with me from Smith that went to
Hmm.
Hillside.
Yeah.
One of the sponsors from the show, Janetta Powell, she just started music school there, Bull City Music School.
Okay.
She went to school with me at Jackson State.
Okay.
And she ended up in North Carolina and started a school. And her son actually just graduated from Hillside High School.
Oh, that's crazy. That's right. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, and then like you said, it was a mini version. I remember when Dudley came to Charlotte, they might as well been A&T.
Yeah, they
Like
might. Yeah.
they look just like them.
And
And their band director went to A&T.
here's the thing. They tailgate when West Charlotte comes to play Dudley. And
Oh,
so
really?
the alumni who were at West Charlotte used to play these boys at Dudley. So like the old men and they're talking junk about, boy, we used to tell y'all about football, all that stuff going on.
Right.
The families out there, because it's multi-generational, relationship between West Charlotte and Dudley, because there's so much pride and like I said, history between the two different high schools and alumni. So
right.
I can see all that, Winston Salem, Carver High School, Winston Salem. That was a black school there. So yeah.
That's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope. Okay, so now you at high school, and then you marched there. What would you say was your most memorable experience marching in high school?
Playing Dudley, like you said, man. I mean,
really?
Well, see, West Charlotte, our football teams are good, right? So we go deep in the playoffs. See, most of the time, if we are playing just in the city, I mean, we may see Harding. Like while I was in Harding, didn't have the band in the head because Mr. Jones was at Hawthorne. After I graduated from West Charlotte, that's when he went over to Harding and blew that program up.
Okay.
So we didn't really see a whole lot of other really high-stepping bands that were doing it like West Charlotte was. We were like the cream of the crop. Wasn't nobody doing it like us,
Right.
I mean, we heard about the little middle school band that was doing real well, but we don't play them in the playoffs and nothing like that. We don't see them in no games, So generally, we play Dudley in the playoffs. We would see a Greensboro team as we went up into and that's when you would see a Dudley come down. We would see them in out of conference games. That's when we would see some of those other schools like that.
Okay.
Okay. And so I left Winston. I left West Charlotte, and I started going out to some of these other schools like A&T and going on college tours, A&T and Winston and Fayetteville State and stuff like that. And I think Winston gave me like the most money when I was a senior and I wanted to get into a school. As a matter of fact, I wanted to go to Howard. My mom said, "You're going to Winston, they gave you the most money. Your food line job can afford Howard, you can go ahead and go there, but yeah, you gonna go over there to Winston because they paying the most." So that's where I went.
Right. So that was actually my next question. How was like your college, like your selection process? Like, so you wanted to go to Howard though. What made you want to go to Howard?
Well, because like I said, half of my family used to live in DC. Most of my family, a lot of times they went to like my mother graduated from Fisk. She got her grad degree at Howard. My uncle went to Morehouse. He got his grad degree at Howard. I had a lot of other family members who had been at Howard. And I went up to DC, and I just like Washington DC. I went to the bigger city. I'm from Charlotte, and I like DC. And I thought the girls are pretty in DC, so that's why I wanted to go up to Howard. I wanted to go up there. So, but like I said, it wasn't in the cards. My money.
Right.
Mistake, so there it is.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because now, I mean, like when we were getting ready for school, we were going to school, like you didn't really know like the money side of it.
No, you didn't.
And now being an adult now, it's like, okay, I want to send my kids to college and all this stuff like that, and then the whole financial side of it. You know what I'm saying? I remember because my dad went to Jackson State.
Okay.
I just wanted to do something different because most of his side of the family, they all went to Jack because it was right there. It was like right down the street from my dad. So they went there, and I was like, I want to start my own thing. I remember I went to Florida A&M band camp, and I wanted to do all this stuff. Yeah, 95, I was down there. And then I was like, I wanted to be on the East Coast. So I picked Hampton, but I got kicked out of Hampton. Yeah, so I got in trouble at Hampton, but um I didn't realize how much money my parents were spending. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like I just didn't know. And so I remember it first hit me when I was there at Smith. Smith is expensive.
yeah, it is.
Oh, off the hook. And
Yeah, it is.
so the president at the time or whatever, they were only giving out like $1,200 for like music scholarships.
Oh,
And I thought that that was a lot of money.
yeah,
But
but
I mean, yeah, compare right.
drop on.
So I remember my dad brought it up to me. And of course he was trying to get me to go Jack State anyway.
Mhm.
But yeah, he brought that up. And so it was considerably cheaper. But
Yeah,
then outside of that, I started to just kind of recognize because you start to get older and you start
yeah.
to appreciate your parents more, and you start seeing the sacrifices that they
They
making.
make. Mhm.
Right. So when you say like, yeah, you want to go to Howard, but they gave you the most money. Like I get that now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I totally get it.
I'll tell you one thing about my process. When I went, it was what worried me the most about going to Winston was playing, because a lot of times when you have a scholarship, you have to play before everybody. But I'm not going in there as playing for a marching band scholarship. I was a music major.
Okay.
So I'm going in here to get a full music scholarship or how much ever money they can give me.
Right.
And when I played for Winston, what the scariest thing was playing in front of all of the professors and the doctors and the PhDs in music in there and having to sit there and then actually play music that I had pretty much prepared, right?
Mm-hmm.
In front of all these people like that. And the thing is, it was like American Idol, Joe. It was like going in here, you see these people sitting in stadium seats, they're staring at you. It's a quiet room. They didn't heard all
Yeah.
this. There's a line around the corner of all these people playing. It's like, yeah, and I'm just next, right? So I come in here, and the lady, I hand some lady, this old lady with like glasses on. She look like she's been here like 100 years. She takes my little folder of sheet music. She go sit over there at the piano, and when she sits down and plays, like a little accompaniment, the intro, it sounds good. And she's like on you. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me get my little thing. So I play my music, and the head band director walks up while I'm playing. He stands up, walks out.
Oh.
He stands and walks out. I didn't know what was going on. That made me nervous. I'm still playing, and I see the head of woodwinds. He's not. He's sitting in there standing, but he has no reaction. I finished playing. It's quiet. And I turn around now and said, "Well, thank you, everybody." And I head out towards the door, and one person said something in the room. They said, "Yeah, Mr. Winston, like, yeah, that note you missed was C." Okay, thank you. And I walk.
Wow.
Yeah, so I walk out, right? So I walk out, and the only reason why I knew I did well is because my mother was standing next to the marching band director, and she was smiling.
Okay.
That point they take me to another room for sight reading, and I know half the music because I play in like a black high school, right? So I know
Right.
all, the black high schools play all the college stuff, just like you said. Smith, half of West Charlotte's repertoire was John C. Smith stuff. You
Yep.
know, they arranging, because their music majors are arranging stuff for the high schools.
Right.
And so they had to. I remember I went in there and I was doing sight reading, and basically I know all their stuff. So they just kept on seeing me play the first few lines. They were, "What high school you go to?" You say, "Yeah, you know all this." So they went to go get a senior named C. Michael Henson. He was one of my chief arrangers there at Winston, and I don't know his music because he make it up himself.
Right.
And
Right.
so they went to go get his music and put it in front of me. I never forget. And they were, I remember they looking at me like, "You know this one?" I'm like, "Can you give me a few minutes?" Like, "Yeah, no problem." Yeah, you need to sound this one out. But and in the end of the day, it all worked out, man. They gave me some money for concert band, marching band, and several other bands they had in the program. So I racked up.
Okay. Okay. That's what's up, man. I didn't know that you started out as a music major.
Yeah.
I did too. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, that was some of the drama too with Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Because you remember, like you said, we a year apart. The internet had just came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember probably when you were in 9th grade, I was in 10th grade, they were talking about this. Well, the first thing people were talking about was email.
Yep.
They were like, you're going to be able to send someone a message and see it. But then
Mhm.
they said this stuff with the internet, it's going to be able to you be able to take tours and like you going to be
Mhm.
able. So I remember that. So I remember I was in my counseling center and they had this program. And I remember it was this thing where you typed in what you wanted, what your major, and then they printed out schools or like what the schools would come out. And
Mhm.
so Smith and some other school came out.
Okay.
And years later, I found out that I think I did something wrong. It's been a lot of years now, but I think I did something wrong as far as putting it in there. But
Okay.
what I came out with were schools that did not have an accreditation in music.
Oh, dog. Okay.
Yeah, so like when I even thought about attending Smith, it was with the idea that like, I'm gonna be a music major, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I think I want to say it was Central. It was another black school in North Carolina, but they didn't have an accreditation. And so then when I got out there, they were like, well, we're concerned you say you're a music major and they didn't have any of those music
Dang, some of your
classes.
credits. That's right. Yeah.
They didn't have none of that stuff. So that
Mhm.
was another reason because I really did want to major in music. And
Mhm.
then when I got to Jackson State, a really good music program, I made it like 2 months.
No. Oh, yeah.
Uh, it was off the hook, man. They had me playing the piano.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Oh,
one
just
of
stuff. Yeah, stuff I just was not ready for. So I changed the history quick. So
my.
how long were you a music major? And then what did you change your major to?
I was a music major for about a year and a half. I started there, and I mean, I enjoyed the first year of the program. I even got more scholarship money my second year. It was just the fact of the credits. The problem was, and the way you mentioned it was the fact that like I would have private lessons, right, with my teacher, and then I would have my minor instrument lesson. Then you had the theory classes, and you had the sight
Woo.
singing classes, and then I had brass, woodwind, and percussion class. And so these are all classes you would take multiple times a week. But the thing is, you get half a credit for some, 1 credit for some of them, and so everybody else is taking their majors. And the thing is, they're like, I said, well, how many credits you get? Oh man, I take my class, I got 3 credits. I'm like, how you do that? And we have to get 15 hours, right?
Yeah.
And I got 5 classes and they don't even add up to 3. you know, I don't know how this works. And so I mean, I was going through credits and credits and credits, and the thing is, I wanted to be a music business major, so some of my classes had to be in business. Problem was, I don't have time to take them because my day is so full up. And don't forget about marching band practice. You got to be there,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be like 3 hours of your day.
Yeah.
Don't forget about concert band. You got to be there. You got to do that. And then since I'm a music major, any senior who is graduating, they have to do a quartet or a quintet or something like that for an assignment. And now they know that you can play almost everything. Oh, you're gonna be in it.
Right.
And that's more music that you gotta like practice for and play for and all that stuff. So it was just like it just got to be too much for me. And so my at the end of my second year, I transferred and I went into business and computer science. That's what I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. So you got a chance to then at least march at Winston.
I marched every year for about at least 3 years. Yeah, 3-4 years.
Okay. So real quick, because my next question is, what was your most memorable experience there marching? I remember when I was at Smith, Duncan Gray was
Oh yeah,
our
Duncan
he
Gray.
was he was our band director, and he went to Winston.
Okay, he
Yep.
did.
He
He
went to
did.
Winston. And so when we played Winston or that week, he was like, I want us to put them in the ground. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
You know why that is, right?
no.
Emory Jones and Duncan Gray were like both trumpet players, and they were there at the same time.
Okay.
I think they frat brothers. you know,
Really?
yeah. And so they're best friends, but like real rivals. And
Okay.
they were both band directors of programs. They were like, also rival schools. So Emory Jones, our band director, was saying the same thing. Yeah, you know, my Dr. Gray, I ain't gonna let him come up here and show us up.
Right.
You know, so we were getting the same thing on our side, man.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So that makes sense because I remember they sounded good.
Oh
They were, of course, they were a smaller band.
yeah.
But I remember it was the first time seeing it. They sat close to each other, so like they could be a little bit louder.
Yeah, project. Yeah.
Yeah, with us, Mr. Gray wanted us spaced out a little bit so we looked bigger, or like we took up more space, like But Winston, they were probably about half of what we were in the stands, but they were in a box. But they sounded and they were loud.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember we weren't like the greatest, like we didn't have like the longest repertoire, as far as Smith goes. So we danced a lot.
Yeah, you
Or
did.
like we kick off a beat and then the drum major with Chris Jones would do something and then we mimic him for 8 counts or something like that. And I'll never forget when we stopped dancing, they started chanting, "You don't know your music. You don't know your music."
Yeah.
Oh, we were like, damn, that hurt. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I remember, I mean, of course, it depending on who was there, you could say who got who. But I remember it was like this, Mr. Gray was like not happy after the game.
Yeah.
He was not happy. So I think we tried to focus on music. We tried to learn more songs or something, but it just wasn't the same. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But the very next year, a couple years after that, y'all got us one time, I remember, in the 5th quarter. I forgot. Gray used to play a lot of funk classics and stuff like that, man. He used to always playing funk stuff, 70s stuff, and I forgot what he played. But whatever he did, he stood up on his podium and threw up them Q ears, man. And because he was a Q, am I correct?
I don't think so. I don't
Was he
think Mr. Gray was the bruh.
was
I
he was he
can't remember. I don't
whatever
remember him doing
was,
anything Greek.
whatever he did, he threw up some sign and Mr. Jones snapped. Like, he was like, I remember him snapping. He was like, "We playing this into this into this."
Oh wow!
No, man, because these people been, because half the time, in our Bowman Gray Stadium, they ready for us to go. They about to click the lights on us, right?
Right.
But he ain't about to let his boy get up out of here, man, without no L.
Right.
I know. I was like, man, everybody was just like, when we saw Duncan Gray get up there and do that, we were like, man, we ain't never getting out of here, man.
Right.
We ain't never
That's
going home.
crazy. That's crazy. So what was your most memorable experience then marching?
I have 3. I keep it short. One, the first one was we had this guy that used to come in and do all of our arrangements. His name was Caesar. I don't know whether you know him or not.
See, I think Caesar wrote at Smith for a little while.
He did write at Smith. That's right.
Yeah, he did.
Caesar was one of our best arrangers. He's one of the best people that I've seen in music before. He was great. He was there to transition me from when I marched my first year at Winston. I marched clarinet. All the rest of my years I marched percussion. I was in Stone Funk. I was in the drum line. And he really helped me to really change my musicianship, because in terms of his arranging and everything like that, he was top tier. Second biggest thing, playing in the Pioneer Bowl and marching into Atlanta Stadium and playing down there in that stadium, man. That was man. Yeah, we played Tuskegee, going to Tuskegee like a couple of years. That was a great experience going out there, man. And the last one is the Gold Coast Classic. We CIAA. So most of our bands are pretty small. We're not that big. We would play A&T. A&T means the MEAC. So we play a few MEAC schools, but for the most part, we play to get schools maybe about our size.
Yeah.
In the Gold Coast Classic, we went to San Diego.
What?
And we played Grambling State.
What? Y'all did?
Yeah, we played against Grambling State, and we went out there, and I remember we marched through. We had a parade, marched through downtown San Diego down there, and it was a great experience, because a lot of people in California, there are no major HBCUs in Cali, So a
Hell
lot
no.
and so people brought all their HBCU gear out. You know, people coming here, you know, Tennessee State, Claflin, all this stuff, you know, they were coming out here. They were just happy to see 2 HBCUs in town and just
Right.
showing love, man, you know. And we played their football team. So, you know, they destroyed us, man, because Grambling, you know, they beat
Right.
one. But I remember just the sheer size of their band. I remember our trombones doing a Superman punch, you know, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they out there, so they were doing a Superman punch at them, and we saw like their band doing some weird stuff. We didn't know what they were doing, but what they were doing was shifting. Now we may have 11 trombones in our band at all, period. You know, and we look over
Right.
there, man, they got 5 rows of 10.
Right.
Yeah, my God, dog. You know, and what they were doing was position themselves so they all in together. Because they were like, oh, that's real cute what y'all doing over there, man. You know, and they played the same Superman punch. It was dope, man. But it's just a lot of them, you know. But they were
Yeah.
like, you know, after the game, we kind of saw some of those guys in the malls and stuff like that. Because we had a battle of the bands,
Okay.
and that's the first time I met Lisa Ray.
Oh, nice.
He was one of the judges there, and a few other celebrities were the judges. And I can't tell you who the other ones were because I was really focused on Lisa Ray.
On Diamond. That's
Yeah,
Diamond.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. That's all I was focused. I was focused on Lisa Ray. I don't care about who the rest of the judges were. It was 4 of them. I remember that one. But
Right.
I got a hug and a picture, and my boy TJ, man, he took a picture of it. I still can't find that picture nowhere, man. You know, but it was dope, man. And we had a good time out there in California. But those are the 3 best times I think I remember having in my whole career out there. It was nice.
Okay. That's cool, man. And so I totally get it. When I moved here, like I didn't expect to move here. I was not planning. I got a job. And that's actually how I started doing the podcast because there isn't the same HBCU influence out here. From a technical standpoint, people claim Charles Drew. It's a medical school in LA.
That's correct.
It's a medical school, but you know what I'm saying? It's medical school. It ain't like Winston or Jack State or something like that, right?
I
So
do about the school, and there's a school in Compton, like a community, something like that. Somebody said,
yeah,
like college.
I think it's Cal State something.
Yeah.
Cal State Dominguez.
Okay.
And that area is south of the 101. So that's, you know, south of 101 is a lot more black.
Okay.
And so that area, like Dominguez, all that stuff like that, a lot more black people. And that school, they have more black people at that school. It's a high percentage. And so I know that for years they've been trying to like launch a band program and have like a band program where it's the point where they start playing like Grambling or they start playing Texas Southern. But you know, it's a lot. So I remember when I started doing this, my hope was to like bring a battle of the bands out here. But the biggest thing was the investment of the money of transferring the bands out here.
Yeah, it is.
You talk about plane tickets.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There are sometimes when they may drive, but it's way too much on the students to drive. What were you about to say?
Yeah, well, like with the Gold Coast Classic, it's the sports program that paid for everything like that. It's the game. Like we had it in Charger Stadium. It was televised. So there were other monies, and this is a classic. So basically what they do is they take 2 HBCUs every year and they put it somewhere where they're not like a lot of HBCUs. Like I left Winston, but I had one of my sisters-in-law. She went to Winston-Salem State. She was like a Banner girl. They went to Indianapolis. I don't know of a HBCU that's in Indianapolis, but there was a classic, and it was in their dome in the Charger, Colt Stadium, you know, and it was really sponsored through athletics, and that's how the bands got to do that, you know, because they just take HBCUs. They go to a city where there are no HBCUs, but they may have a lot of alumni in town, and they pack the house and they just have it, man, you know, and I think that's how we got to the Gold Coast Classic. So it's good that they do that, but yeah, it'd be hard to just get everybody out there in California for that without It probably, without sports or something like that.
Right. So the one in Indianapolis is the Circle City Classic.
That's right. Okay.
And I know about that one because Indianapolis is just 4 hours from St. Louis.
Okay.
So if Jackson State went there, we would go there.
Okay.
Wherever Jackson State was when I was growing up, we went there. So
Okay,
that's how
cool.
I saw Jackson State a lot. But yeah, they tried to do the same thing here. It was the Angel City Classic in LA.
Oh, okay.
And like Morehouse, I think Morehouse came out here against somebody. And
Yeah.
you're right. It brings out a lot of the HBCUs because there are a lot of chapters out here.
Yeah.
We have Jackson State has an alumni chapter out here. So I know Southern does. I know Norfolk. There's a lot of them. But definitely when you have that HBCU event, it comes out. The Honda Battle of the Bands will be here this year.
Oh, that'll
And
be
I'm
dope.
really excited about that. And
Yeah.
so
There's some money behind that though.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I already got our tickets. We already got things set away for that. But hopefully it'll be a success because a lot of people are complaining about flying out here to California, and then the tickets are like more than $100.
Yeah.
So right. So they're paying for it, but a lot of people out here are buying the tickets because we don't get that type of influence that much.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a success. I think so. I'm looking forward to it.
You guys show out there. We were surprised when we went out there. I mean, the San Diego, we were like, man, how many people really gonna be out here? We know, well, right. Coming from Winston, and we're in the Southeast, we know it's going to be some people here because a lot of you're in the Southeast. It's HBCUs all over everywhere in the Southeast United States. Now you go to the Southwest, we like, okay, how many people really gonna show up? But
right,
we were surprised. Those people marched with us all the way up the street, dancing along the way, man. They showed up in the stadium, man. All of our festivities during that weekend were packed,
right.
with alumni. So it was really cool.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about it. Even though HBCUs are Southeast and a lot of folks are there, because I mean, we're talking about college and higher education. A lot of us, just like me, we get jobs all over the country. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we get transferred or we'll get a job in California, and then you have to represent. I'm in this town called Redlands, and it's like a really nice town. It's a smaller town to raise a family and all the stuff like that. And I was driving down the street somewhere, and I didn't get a chance to stop the car, but there was a girl. I think it was a girl from what I remember. She had North Carolina Central tags.
Okay.
And I was like, what? North Carolina Central? I hear Redlands. I'm like, what? Like what? And I wish I could have got a chance to like stop the car or whatever. Because if I see somebody with HBCU out here, especially in Redlands, I'm like, yo, like what you doing? I was at Trader Joe's one night a couple months ago, and a girl she was Howard down. She had Howard all over her car. When I saw her in the Trader Joe's, she had a Howard sweatshirt on, so I got to talk to her. And then another time, and mind you, this is in Redlands now. This is an hour from LA. There was somebody with a Tuskegee icon on their car. I'm like, what? Like that? That's like blows my mind when I see stuff like that.
But
so we out here,
That's what I said. That's good though, man. I like that. We should be everywhere.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, I like that.
So that's kind of the thing, I guess. And I think that's maybe what the Honda folks were thinking about, because they knew that it was going to be, I guess, somewhat of a risk to have it all the way out here and have expensive tickets. But I'm sure that they did the numbers and they saw that it's a whole lot of HBCU support out here. So they went ahead and pulled the trigger. And so we looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying?
I'd be surprised. You go to Seattle. There's probably a lot of HBCU people up there. Seattle. There's probably a lot of them out there. Portland, other places. Denver, maybe. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man.
Yeah. So okay. So you said that you changed your major. What did you want to do when you finished school? When you changed your major?
When I first came out, I really wanted to go into banking. I graduated in 2002, right?
Okay.
In the fall of 2002. So I wanted to change I wanted to go into banking, and I stayed an extra year in because the banking fallout happened. Remember all those internet banks and
Yeah.
those online banking and stuff like that? And I was supposed to go on online bank. I said, well, this ain't a good time to come out. So I changed my major to management information systems, like so you're dealing with more like computer science based stuff, so
Right.
programming and such. And so I left there, and I graduated with a management information systems major, a finance minor out of Winston. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then what was your first gig when you got out of school? And I
That
guess that rolls into like what you doing now.
Well, I first started in I left there and I worked for AT&T for a little bit, and then for about a year, and then about a year later I worked for Wells Fargo. So I worked for Wells
Oh,
Fargo
okay.
for years and a half. But here's the problem though. I worked for Wachovia Bank.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I remember seeing the little Wachovia
that's right.
commercials when I came to
Right.
Charlotte.
That's right. I worked for Wachovia. But while I was there, Wells Fargo was taking over, and I found out like,
What?
yeah, because while I was there, I was going to MBA school. I'm going to get my MBA. So,
Okay.
right after I graduated, I got my MBA shortly after that. And I was working at Wells Fargo when I heard about the CEO stepping down, and I heard they were closing all these departments and stuff like that. And after that, I was like, look, I need something more stable. So that's when I went into education, and that's what I'm doing now. So I started teaching.
Oh.
I left the bank, and I remember when I told my boss the day that I was about to leave, I said, you know what, I think I'll find another job. I'm hearing all this bad press and stuff. She'd be like, and she leaned over to me and my cubicle. If you found something, I suggest you go ahead and go because uh, I found out I was fired 2 months ago. I'm like, what?
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, excuse me? Yeah, you need to tell nobody this. The lady right next to me, she's paying for a kid to go to college. I mean,
Right, right.
and so yeah, so I pretty much left out of there, and I've been in education ever since, brother. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So where do you teach now?
I teach at Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, man. I'm an assistant principal at one of the high schools here.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
That's really, really dope. So I have to ask you, I actually start coaching a track team. I'm starting to volunteer for high school track. I'm
Okay.
starting this spring.
Mhm.
I remember we talked about it, and you said that you had done some coaching.
Oh yeah.
What coaching have you done? What coaching have you been doing since you started working at Charlotte Mecklenburg?
Um. Well, man, let me see. Between 2009 through 2017, I must have coached basketball. I coached. I was a head coach basketball for a while, and head coach and assistant coach basketball. I was the head track coach for a while, and I did assistant coach, defensive coordinator for football.
Wow. Okay. All right. Do you like coaching?
I miss it, man. Because now as an AP in high school, I'm out there at the games. I'm like right behind the sideline. You can't say anything. You let the coach do the job. But it's just that's how I get my fix. Because I got the band over here, so I'm listening to them. So I get my music fix, and then I get my coaching fix out here because I'm right behind them. So I get my little fix in. Between the two, man. But
Okay.
I do miss it. But yeah, coaching kids was really helped me in terms of my in terms of me being a better educator. It really did.
Okay. So since you have been through a couple of the levels, if you will, as far as teaching,
Mm-hmm.
coaching, and now you are an administrator, is there one that you like the best out of all of them?
Administration is still new for me, man. This is my third year as an admin, and I like it. And that's only because you progress in life. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the classroom. Um, I really wanted to do something else because it was just like I'm continuing to do the same thing. I've always gotten better at this every year, but it's like I don't think is there anything else I can do at this level anymore. So now, really, it's a new adventure for me. Stepping into the admin role. So I'm enjoying it every day.
Okay. All right. And then what school are you assistant principal?
I am at East Mecklenburg High School here in Charlotte.
East Mecklenburg. Okay. So I've heard, that's funny. I've heard of some of the Charlotte high schools being there and being around. So there's like a West Mech and
Well,
there's like what all of like is Mecklenburg Like, how does that work?
The older high schools were like built mostly in like around 1950 or right before. Like the Mecklenburgs were the county schools where I'm living. So they were like East Meck, West Meck, South Meck, North Meck. They were all built on the same plan and all built around the same time, from what I understand.
Okay.
But they were meant for the people who lived in the county areas, not the city of Charlotte. Like the city of Charlotte had West Charlotte High School, that's inner city. You
Right.
had Harding High School, that was inner city. You had
Okay.
Garinger High School, that was inner city. You had Myers Park High School, and that was where like your inner city schools. I think I may be leaving one out. So they were really 8 for the county, 4 for the city. I mean, sorry, 4 for the county, 4 for the city. So we had 8. But now Charlotte's grown so much, we have a lot of schools now. I mean, we got a lot of high schools now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've even heard of like Independence High School. Is there Independence?
That's Independence. That's Independence High School. That was I forgot when that was built. I guess that must have been built sometime in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that makes sense. But yeah, man, that's really cool that you have the experience. I actually I'm teaching on the side as well.
Okay.
Because it's so expensive out here in California. Like,
okay.
when we, I wasn't expecting to get married and do all of that when I was out here. And then, after that, later on, we found a really good preschool or like a really good, it was a preschool. And they even branched out into a kindergarten. And I remember it was more than my rent for my 2 kids.
Oh,
So that's when I reached out, and I remember my dad taught some community college classes for some extra money. And so I started doing that just to help out. And so I really did it. I remember I didn't like it at first. But now it's like a part of my income. So I'm like, I done dove into it, you know what I'm saying? I'm making myself like it now. It's been 10 years now, but
that's great.
yeah, especially after you get used to the money too. Like you get used to that money coming in. So
are you teaching the same class pretty much?
Yeah, the same class. So I started out with physical geography, but now I'm teaching physical geography. I teach cultural geography, and then intro to GIS.
Okay.
And world regional geography. And I'm at 3 different schools.
Okay.
I guess one thing that helped with the virus is that, as you know, everybody started going online teaching.
Virtual. Yeah.
And so they now, in the state of California, they make you take this certification at each school, distance education certification. So if you want to teach, you got to be certified.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I went to do all of that because it really helped out. As my kids are getting older, I don't have to drive on campus and stand in front of a class and do all of that stuff. So that helped.
They're making it real accessible now. Yeah, they're making it for you to be able to get educated and for teachers be able to get teachers in, because sometimes it's hard hiring. Level. Yeah.
Right. So that's what's up, man. Let me first. I'm still messing around with all the new bells and whistles and stuff, but let's give you a round of applause here. I've been using that graphic for a minute now.
I like that. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. So I'm real proud of you, man. Back in the day, we used to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did.
I remember, I guess, as far as us going back in the timeline, I used to come out and I used to spend the night at your house every time I was in Charlotte.
Yep.
I will never forget. But when I think about it, I gotta ask you, because you remember we would go out in your neighborhood and we would hang with some of the people in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
There was this Black family. They had a boy and a girl, and one was named Ronald. And the girl was named Ray.
Dog, man. That's a long time ago, man.
Right. Do you still talk to them?
No, man, because they moved not too long after that, man. I haven't talked to them, man, since I was in elementary school. We were in elementary school, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Yeah, you're right. There was the boy, it was Ronald Reagan, and they had a little brother named Justin. You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember
Man,
that.
I'll never forget that. And then I remember because, like you said, we were elementary school, so he had to have been president at the time because we was in middle school in the 80s.
I think he was either president or he had just
They just I got out or something.
either like George Bush may have been president at the time. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
But
But that blew my mind.
his father was big time Republican, man, and he loved Ronald Reagan, man. He loved Ronald.
What? I was like,
Yeah,
what? And so
yeah.
then that's
People,
what
we were like, what?
right. That
Yeah,
was what I said. I was like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, they black. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The block was confused, right? You know,
Right, right.
the dad bought the house. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm in the wrong place."
Oh my God. Like,
It
I'll
was,
never forget that. And I remember that. And I think I said something. I was like, your name's Ronald and you're Reagan. And we played with them a couple times because we were kids, like, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, everybody played around, man. You know, and they were good kids, man. They were cool people, man. You know, but
Right, right,
we were
right.
kids, but yeah, they were like, "Yeah, my name's Ronald. My sister Reagan over here." Yeah, I think they meant the
Ronald.
part. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that blew my mind. And I think then we were about 10 or 9 or 10. So
yeah.
again, we were like younger. And then in 88 is when Jesse Jackson ran for president.
That's right. Yep.
So that's when I learned about all of like the politics and all.
Mhm.
It's like, so I remember thinking that was like crazy, but I remember that. I'm trying to remember if there was another time, but I remember um
Yeah, you
I
come.
would come with, and we would spend the night. I would spend the night at your crib.
Yeah, we go over there, we play ball, and then go eat at like Shoney's or whatever like that. You know,
Man,
yeah, eat all this good food like that. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. Yep.
man, and then we would stay up. That's
Oh
one
yeah.
thing like my kids haven't experienced yet, and I mean I hope they get a chance to. But your mom would go to sleep, and she would be like, "Okay, like you guys be responsible," and we would be up the whole night
Yep.
playing war
Yeah.
or do something like.
Playing video games, something like that, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, those
Yeah.
were the times, man.
They were good old times, man. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And I think I'm trying to remember because I thought about you because I knew we were gonna do the interview.
Yeah.
The latest Bad Boys just came out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember I saw the first one at your house.
Yep. Yep.
You had that movie and we played.
Yep.
And man, I remember that was so funny because my parents was kind of strict about the movies,
Yeah.
so I got a chance to
Yeah,
watch
my mom
Bad
don't care
Boys.
about that kind of stuff. You can
Yeah,
watch. Not she care about none of that stuff. Yeah, you can watch whatever you want.
right,
Hey,
right. So
pizza, you know, y'all go down. Yeah, y'all go downstairs. Y'all watch whatever y'all want to. You get to go. She ain't care.
oh man, that was great. And then you had guns too, like
Yeah, yeah,
toy guns. I
yeah.
had none of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
man, that was some good times, man.
yeah,
That was fun.
yeah, man.
So let me give you another round of applause here. I sure appreciate it.
Shit, brother.
Yeah, man, it's been fun talking to you, man. Now us being adults and everything, and
Absolutely, absolutely.
so yeah, man, I really appreciate you. I love you, man.
You
It's
too,
been
brother.
good, but also too, we'll be back in Charlotte again
Okay,
in March. I
okay,
think it's March 25th we get there, and then we stay in like a little bit more. We stay in like 9 days
okay. We
this
get up.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely get up this time.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully my family will be able to adjust to the East Coast time because man, we never got out the house, man, till like 4
It take a couple days, man.
Yeah, yeah. It took a couple days, and then like once we got back, it's easier coming this way
It is.
because the time is backwards. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you some hours behind, but man, it was rough on my kids, especially my old lady, man. She
Oh.
she ain't the best with time anyway. So man, she oh man, she was struggling, man. So yeah, so we definitely will get up this time, man.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
So we land in the interview, and again, I appreciate you, man. I'm proud of you, and you're doing well. You know what? I forget to ask. When did you get married?
Oh man, 2011. Don't
Okay.
don't get me in trouble on the internet, man. Don't do that. 2011. Right.
2011.
Right.
So did you
Hey,
meet her at Winston?
huh?
Did you meet her at Winston?
No, I didn't, man. My wife was I met her through a friend that was in the neighborhood, man. My wife went to white school, man. She went to Boston College, yeah. She went to Boston College, dude. Oh
What?
yeah, man. And I went to go visit her when I was in Winston. We just like kept in touch. You remember like remember instant message and all that kind of stuff like that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you remember, And so I met her on instant message. I remember going up there to see her in Boston. Man, that's the first time I've seen like a big, like, I've been to Carolina, stuff like that, but Boston College, man, Division 1. I mean, it's like,
Right. It's
yeah,
huge.
oh man, I go up there in the wintertime and they got the big bubble over the stadium. And I look in there, I said, are you serious? I see a kid in there with a t-shirt on and some shorts and he's kicking field goals. I said, this is life. They were like, what? I said, what you got going on here? She was like, welcome to Boston College, Division 1A.
Oh.
Yeah, I see what y'all doing down here. Yeah, it was nice, man. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that's why I met my wife. We stayed in contact and got married shortly after we graduated. Yeah.
Okay. And then is she from Carolina?
No, she's from Boston. She actually came.
Oh.
She's from Boston, Massachusetts. Came down here. You know when kids move and when they like in the 10th grade, like they spent their whole life somewhere, and then they come down here, and you're like, "Mom, move me all the way down to the little country place."
Right.
Because she was small to her, right? So
Right.
she actually graduated from the high school I'm at. So East Met. So she
What?
stayed there for 2 years, and then she went back to BC. Back
Okay.
to She went back home. She went back to her hometown and went to school, and then came back down after she graduated. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure that makes a difference too, because I did the same thing. Even going to Smith and going to Jackson State, I had family there, so it was like a home. You going to school, so you going away from where you went to high school or something, but it still helps you got family
Oh
or
yeah.
something like that. But yeah, man, I remember I was gonna ask you that, but I was like, yeah, I almost forgot that. So that's what's up, man. And looking forward to seeing you, I guess, in March.
Hey,
When we
congrats,
come down there.
man. Keeping around for 13 years, man. That's amazing, man. You're doing a good job over here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I didn't think it would be going on this long. When I pledged, that was a big thing, was creating some type of program, because Carter G. Woodson and the Negro Achievement Week, all that stuff was, all of that was huge with the Qs. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's basically, they try to hammer us out and say, well, you need to make something, like,
Yeah.
So that was it seemed like the easiest thing. Like, it wasn't a lot of HBCUs out here. Let me try to do something with that and band and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started talking about it, but more and more, I started really wanting to connect and interview people that I knew, just
Cool.
like I knew you. And so it just expanded from that, like the different shows and all of that. And so, yeah, I didn't even think it would be running this long, and so now, yeah, we definitely in a good place now.
Good.
So yeah, man, I appreciate it, man.
Definitely, brother. Definitely.
All right, so let me give you one last round of applause here.
All right.
Anything that you want to say, as far as advice, or anything that you want to say to someone or to a group of people, or anything?
I think it's just important to highlight the success of HBCUs whenever possible. I think that's your program does that. These classics do that. I hope that one day we're able to get that band classic out there, out there on the West Coast, because I think it's best anytime we're able to highlight the success of the alumni HBCUs and the success of HBCUs themselves and the services that they put out and the people that they put out. I think that's always a good thing.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. Who knows? In a month or so, we might have we already got a representation in the White House.
Oh yeah,
but we'll see. Who knows? It would be cool just to see that, because I mean, as you know, our folks went to black schools, but you also had a lot of black folks that were like, man, I ain't going to no black school. Like,
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got to get a job. I'm not going to get a job. Like,
It's always the naysayers. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, like you say, I think you make a good point that, we turn out, we go to black schools, and then we able to get jobs.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
saying we able to feed our families and everything.
Right.
You know,
That's right. Absolutely. And get in the White House. That's correct.
right,
That's right.
right.
That's
There you
right.
go.
That's correct. We can do
There you
whatever.
go.
That's right.
That's what's up, man. Well, I appreciate your time, Ike. I'll be in contact with you and I'll be touching base with you, with text and all of that. And then I'll see you in March. And so we definitely make sure we gonna hang out
Oh yeah.
while we're there. And then of course I'll be going to church.
Oh yeah. 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 Your mom. Our moms will make us there. Yeah. We'll be
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be going. And you know what's funny? Your mom did the announcements,
there.
and I totally missed. Is there anybody here or something or visited? I totally missed that. And then your mom said, I guess Joseph don't want to stand up. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh snap.
I said, I know you ain't calling him out. Ma, don't do that. Don't do that. She always
Oh,
asked me, man.
yeah. Yeah, it was funny. And so I was at least able to stand up. So I was like, okay, now next time I know when I book my ticket, I said, I'm gonna make sure I stand up and say something next time. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, all right, man. Well, I sure appreciate your time. And like I say, love you, man. And we'll be in contact. But thanks again for doing the show.
Definitely, brother. Definitely, brother. See you in the spring.
See you in the spring.
All right.
We appreciate all those watching the show today. That comes the end of our show. Check out themontrepodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. We're on X, Twitter, whatever it is now. Follow us everywhere. You Google the Marching Podcast now. You'll see the little icon with the headphones pull up. We're everywhere. Stop in and support us and say hello to us at any time. That's all the time we have for the show. Check us out. Let us know. Share. Do everything you can because you support us. We'll support you. And remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.